Hey everyone, so I finally decided to watch Thor Love and Thunder. Actually, I watched it before, but I just wanted to say this for the YouTube title because I think that kind of title gets a lot of views. But I think this video is my first video, so it's probably going to get really not that many views. So we'll see. Hopefully, my first video will get like a million views. That is definitely not going to happen, but like, I'm not a film critic. This is my first YouTube video. I don't know how to critique videos, so I just made a list of things. I watched the movie and I just kept writing down a list of things that I didn't like about the movie, and the list is in front of me, and I just want to start with the first thing that happened in the movie, and that is gore. And the first thing that sort of stands out when you obviously look at Gore is his appearance. And if you look at Gore in the comic books, like, he looks absolutely a menace. Now, I'm not someone who has read the comic books, but man, have you looked at his appearance in the comic books? That guy looks like an absolute beast. He looks really menacing. Like, I would love to have seen him on the big screen portrayed like he is in the comic book. Again, I have not read the comic books, but I've heard good things about that comic book. But they didn't do that with Gore's appearance. They went in the complete opposite direction, and I have a couple of theories why they would do that. And obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is Christian Bale. He is the most popular, one of the most popular actors out there, and that guy probably did not come cheap. They probably just wanted to use his face on their movie to get more people to like watch the movie. So obviously they like didn't like manipulate his face too much so that his face still has, Christian Bale in it, so that it's recognizable. So that's why they were like, they didn't change his appearance too much. And that's kind of sad. Like, they could have hired anyone to play the character, but they decided to go with Christian Bale. Now, his acting is good, but I really did not like him as a villain. His first few shots were definitely nice with him on the desert with his daughter. It was touching, but again, it felt really rushed. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but if you watched like Looney Tunes, and whenever like they need to grow a plant or something really quick, they take a seed and they like bury it in the ground and they water it, and then immediately that plant, like immediately at that very second, that plant just grows up. I feel like that is Gore. That is how they made Gore. That is how they set him up in the movie. That was so rushed. Like, I don't even know what to say. And yeah, that was his very disappointing origin as another really disappointing Marvel villain. I don't even know why Christian Bale decided to take this role. He is so much better than a stupid Marvel villain or a stupid Marvel movie with a stupid Marvel villain. He was so much better than that. And while we are on the topic of talking about Gore, let's just talk about what he does in the entire movie. You know what he should be doing? Killing the gods. But you know what he's not doing? Killing the gods. That is the absolute joke of a villain. His name is Gore, the God Butcher. And you know what he's doing in the movie? He's telling scary stories to children. That is his. That like, I don't even know, man. That is really disappointing. Like, I don't know if I should be laughing or I should be crying, because I really expected that guy to be serious. But when Taika Waititi is directing this movie, who could have expected this movie to turn out any serious? And he took a villain that really had the potential to be really fucking good. And you know what he does? He makes him a joke, just like this whole movie. And you know what? He made a joke over movie. Now the joke is on him. It is one of the most disappointing movies in phase 4 or 5. You know what? I don't even know what phase this is right now. That is how less I care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And let's move on from gore right now. And just briefly, I want to mention, like, they didn't really have too many Guardians scenes in the movie. They showed up for the beginning, but at the end of the end game, they sort of insinuated that Thor was going to go on different adventures with the Guardians, but that really didn't happen. And I don't know, like, I definitely had some expectations that Thor will have at least one movie with the Guardians, but that they didn't decided to go with that. So that was another disappointing thing about this movie. And yes, I want to go back to Gore for a bit, because I forgot to talk about one thing, is that he has a really weak motivation. It's that he has the motivation to do everything that he does. Like, he has everything that he needs to kind of hate gods, because they've set him up just like that. Like, he can do that. Like, he has every right to hate all gods, but they add that weird sword that he's manipulating his mind right now. I don't like that aspect. If your villain is going to hate gods, he should do that himself. He doesn't need a sword manipulating his hatred or grow his hatred towards god. That just makes him look weak and be a very manipulative villain. That makes him look weak. And imagine if Thanos was somehow being manipulated to do what he did from the Infinity Stones. That would have made him a really, really weak villain. What makes Thanos strong is that he has the will to do what he wants to do himself. He's not being manipulated by anything. And Gore, like, he should do what he's doing himself. He has absolute no reason to be manipulated by that absolute garbage of a sword. And can we mention that how stupidly that whole thing was set up? Like, the sword is just there, it just flies to his hand and he just kills the god. Again, a stupid movie. I don't even need to mention that. Okay, so actually a little bit of a funny thing. Now that I'm reading the note points that I wrote for this movie, almost all of them are about Gore, because he's just that bad in the movie. So another thing about God that I think I already mentioned briefly is that Gore never killed any god on screen. How much disappointing is that? There was a scene where Thor goes to that place, that icy landscape that we also saw in the trailers, and there was like a giant god, like dead god. Like, it would have been so awesome to see Gore fight that god, but we never got to see. We never see Gore kill a single god besides the god he killed at the beginning of the movie. He didn't kill anyone in the entire goddamned movie. That has to be absolute the worst way to handle a villain whose name is Gore the God Butcher. And just another thing about Gore, like, I should make this whole video titled I Hate Gore. And watching that movie, I never believed for a second that Gore was going to kill the kids. Like, at the beginning of the movie, Gore had his daughter killed, and I don't think a character like that could kill another children, because he had the loss of his own child, and I don't think he's going to ever, like, kill any children. So I never felt like that Gore could ever kill children, or that the stakes were high. And the stakes of the entire movie was that Gore has kidnapped these children. Like, that was the core of the movie, and that was the most unbelievable part of it. At least for me, I never believed that Gore was ever going to hurt the children, and he never did. He scared them. He told them a scary story. He never even touched them. He just hid them, told them scary stories, and that's that. And you know what else is a joke in this movie besides this whole movie being a joke? Zeus. They did my man dirty, man. They did my man absolutely garbagely, humongously dirty. Like, if you have you looked at the Justice League movie, there's a brief scene you get to see the Justice League universe Zeus, And you look at the Zeus in Marvel Cinematic Universe. They handled him like a fucking joke. He is a joke. Like the way he came down on the stairs with his holding his like a really fluffy looking skirt. I died. I died inside. I I was pronounced dead. And one more thing that I think this movie could have done right was that not Gore, Core should have actually died. And he's like such an extra character that kind of showed up nowhere in Thor Ragnarok, and I always kind of find him really annoying. And Core dying could have been actually one positive point in the movie, and he didn't die. Like, god damn it, why didn't he die? That could have redeemed this movie 0.1%. I would have liked for Core to die. I'm not saying that because I hate the guy, like I really do, but they could have used something, like there could have been something emotional in that movie. So that was one small segment about Core, and I want to like end this video by talking about Taika Waititi. And I haven't watched a lot of his other works. I have watched What We Do in the Shadows, and I really liked the humor, but I think he really dropped the ball on this movie. I think he never really actually respected the characters or the stories that came before it or are going to come after it. Like he kind of retconned a lot of things in this movie, and I just think that Taika Waititi treated this entire movie like a joke and the characters like a joke. And the thing is, when the guy who made this movie doesn't respect the movie he's making, then no one else is going to take this movie seriously. No one is going to respect this movie. And I don't think everyone should be expected to like this movie. No one should be forced to like this movie. If you don't like this movie, that's absolutely fine, because this was an absolute garbage of a movie. And that's all I have to say about this movie right now. And I'm definitely thinking about making other reviews, so Marvel movie reviews and other movie reviews if I like to do that. And I also want to make another Captain Marvel review, and I know it's like a dead horse at this point. It's an older movie, came out in 2018, but I have a lot of things to say about that, and maybe I will talk about some newer Marvel shows. So stay tuned for that. I'll make something new. Subscribe or something, or like, I don't know. Bye.